Saturday is Downtown Beaver Dam Incorporated, along with the Chamber of Commerce, has a Fall Fest. And maybe we'll hear, are you going to talk about that later? A little bit? That's good. I don't know what times it is, so you can throw that out there later. Anyone else on the council have any announcements for this next 2-week period? Okay. If there are no other announcements, we'll move on to Chamber. Okay. Didn't hear anything. All right, we'll move on to disposition of the minutes. You have the minutes in front of you from October 7th meeting. Is there any questions or corrections for those minutes? Yes, Bobby.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as printed.
All right, a motion on the floor to accept the minutes as written. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, Alder Burnett seconds the motion. All in favor? Well, I should ask, is there any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, all in favor of accepting the minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
And those opposed, no? Any abstentions? Okay, motion carried. We have a request to move number 3 up to number 2. If you don't have any objections to that, we'd like to be able to help these school folks get ready for school tomorrow. Okay, I don't see any objections. So if we go forward into ordinances.
Ordinance number 17-2024, an ordinance providing for the direct annexation of property in the town of Beaver Dam to the city of Beaver Dam, Dodge County, Wisconsin. This is a first and second reading.
Okay, you have a packet with that information. I don't know if someone going to speak to that, Nathan, or Todd's going to speak.
I'm going to defer to Todd on this one.
Well, this has gone through Plan Commission, and Todd was there, so go ahead.
Thank you. So this is the annexation request from the school district to annex the lands on South Spring Street down by 151. This would be for their new middle school. Plan Commission talked about this through a couple of meetings. There was some concerns from the commission with getting pedestrians to the site safely. The school district subsequently submitted more information, some maps of how that would happen. And we unanimously approved that today. So Plan Commission is comfortable with moving this forward.
Okay. Look for a motion for approval and discussion. Kevin?
I'll make a motion to approve the ordinance.
Okay, we have a motion by Alder Burnett and second, Alder Merk,
I'll second it.
and a second. And so is there further discussion on this ordinance? Alder Anderson?
I'm going to be against this. There's no value of annexing this to the city of Beaver Dam. It doesn't add any property value. It's actually going to be a burden on the city. It's not, normally when we annex property, we're going to get additional property taxes from them. The school district is not going to pay property taxes to the city on this. Yet we are going to be required to pull water, sewer, everything else out here, maintain it even more. That's my biggest thing with this. That's a very poor choice. We should not be annexing it. Number 2, they have not addressed how kids are going to be walking safely to this area. Yes, they have a plan for getting them through the property that they're annexing, but actually getting them to those borders, there is no sidewalks to get to those, let alone crossing. What is that? It's not University. Not crossing. Yeah, South Spring or G or whatever you want to call it. There's no plan for crossing that road. You know, if you're coming from north of there to south of there, besides using crosswalks, there's no controlled lights or anything like that right now. And again, if you look at the map, they have nice paths through their property for walking and biking, but there is none, you know, coming down Lombardi or whatever. There's no sidewalks on there going down, you know, the G, South Spring Street or whatever. There's no sidewalks in front of those commercial businesses on either side of the street. So until they have a plan to pay for that and they're agreeing to put those sidewalks in at their cost, we should not be annexing and allowing this to go through. Just poor planning. They're assuming that the city is going to put the sidewalks in and charge the adjacent property owners, which we can. You know, that's how we do it for everyone else. But the school district's just assuming we're doing that on their behalf and they're not being open and telling everyone that. So I just don't think we need to annex it, especially until we know that it's actually going to be built on. You know, the referendum has not passed. They're assuming it will. They're threatening to make sure it does. So until after it passes, I don't think we need to. Thank you.
Thank you, Alder Anderson, for your opinion. I will say, as the property committee chairman, it did take us two meetings to discuss this. And our primary reason for a second meeting was we wanted to make sure the school district had a plan for how the kids, especially from the west side of town, were going to get over to that parcel. We didn't feel they'd go down to Lombardi and come back up. So it was discussed. I don't know if the map that's in here necessarily shows, I don't know if you guys got both maps or not. They do show foot traffic again, primarily on their parcel. We were worried about the fact there's no sidewalks on Spring Street. That was addressed. But primarily want to get this annexed into the city. I guess my comment on the tax part of it would be that, yes, they're not going to pay us real estate tax for this parcel. On the other hand, if and when the school is built, the old school will most likely be, I would say it's got a 90% chance of being on the tax roll. So it will counter it, and maybe even to a bigger degree, especially if it's made into an apartment building, which is what we see happens with a lot of parcels similar to that. And obviously, if you change a school into apartments, somebody's going to invest quite a bit of money, and then there's quite a decent tax. Yes.
Another thing we need to remember is that one of the number one selling points of a community for people moving into the community are the quality of its school district. And those new citizens moving into Beaver Dam don't care if the middle school is on city property or township property. They want a attractive middle school. And so while, yes, we won't be getting direct tax dollars from the building of the middle school, it's a key component in attracting new residents.
Alder Anderson?
Two things. Well, you just said they don't care if it's on city or township. So why are we annexing it? We don't need to annex because the people moving into the community don't care. So there's perfect coming from the former teacher who's ingrained with the school board. They're saying that we don't need to. So
But we
there-
actually-
it's as
we
easy as that.
actually-
Number two,
Go ahead.
is there a solid plan to sell the old middle school? Because they've closed two elementary schools. They didn't sell Wilson. You know, and that's kind of a hope and a dream at this point that that'll bring in tax income to turn it in. What if they just, you know, want to make it a big volleyball center or something, or a pickleball stadium? You know, that there's no guarantee that it's going to be turned into an apartment.
Okay, back to your comment about the township versus the city. We've said quite clearly on this council that we don't want to offer water and sewer to township properties anymore. We've done that a couple times. So it would be necessary for the school to be built in the city, to have city water and city sewer. Well, that would all be part of the plan later on. Alderwild.
This seems like we're kind of getting the horse before the cart. Why don't we wait till after the election and see what the referendum says before we make this? Can't we bring it back after that?
Okay. Okay. You want to come here?
I can make a comment. So I think from the school district, from a standpoint of planning and making sure that they're moving forward, I think that's the interest. We do have representatives from the school district too that might be able to answer the question as far as why now versus why waiting. A lot of the questions that are being raised, though, I think to your point, Alderwild, getting the cart ahead of the horse, there's a certain process, right? And a lot of the questions and concerns that are being brought up, like who's paying for the water, who's paying for sidewalks, how are the sidewalks getting to and from, those are a part of the site plan review. And before they get approval to actually build, they're going to need to, the school district, the developer is going to need to address those questions. Annexation is kind of the first process. Before they're going to invest in creating plans, they need to know that they're going to be able to bring the school to this property. And they need to know that they can have access to water and sewer. And so all of those things are a part of the process. And so anyways, I guess that would be the comment that I'd make as far as why now. I would defer to the school district as far as interest in getting the annexation into the city before the election or before the referendum. But one comment that I'd make is anytime property can be brought into the city, that's a good thing. And you have a property owner that, let's say for instance, the referendum fails. Well, now you've brought this property into the city, and the school district's going to need to reevaluate and think, what are we going to do with it, right? But now if they're not building a school, guess what it does become? It becomes property that can be turned into homes and into a neighborhood or into any other number of developments. And so I think it's important to recognize that anytime you have an opportunity to bring property into the city, don't look that gift as like, oh man, this is what it's a wise decision, if that makes sense.
It does make sense that way.
Alder's up.
So I see from the annexation map that we're going to, or they're proposing to annex part of County Road G. So am I reading that correctly? So the city would then have there's gonna be this weird Spring Street, G, Spring Street. Am I reading that correctly? So is that gonna set up a 25 mile an hour to a 35 mile an hour to a 25 mile an hour to, I mean, what's
Yeah.
gonna happen?
Yeah, so that's going to be something that the city is going to need to be wise about. It was a discussion point that the Plan Commission did evaluate and did look at. Unfortunately, it can't be helped, right? The property owners to the north don't have a desire to annex, and the cemetery wasn't appropriately approached, and so the point is that the Plan Commission and Mayor, you can speak to this. The Plan Commission was very concerned about the boundary, and we kind of already went through that vetting process. There's nothing that we can do to solve for that at this point in time. But to your point, no, it wouldn't make much sense to go from 25 to 35 to 25. And that would not be the intention of the city unless, Todd, you have other comments on that. That's why you started off. You sound so much more smarter than I do on these things.
No, your answer is very good. The Plan Commission was really concerned about safety, number one, make sure the kids can get there without not having a sidewalk at all. And then secondary, it's one of my pet peeves, and actually the reason I got back on council 4 years ago was because of what happened on the north side. So I've always wanted it to be a nice trim edge on our city and not have all these jagged pieces that are township, city, township, city. However, this particular one, the school district did their due diligence, checked with the two houses that are there. And it's not something that can be done now. We feel down the road, we can hopefully get those two annexed also. And the cemetery, we can ask them to annex anytime. It didn't get done originally in this plan, so we didn't want to go back and redevelop another whole new first plan. But that could be done secondary. They've already told us that they would come in whenever we wanted to. And you're right about the road right-of-way on both sides. I give Todd and the engineering department kudos for thinking ahead and the fact that this would include right-of-way on both sides of the street, even though the town of Beaver Dam is on the west of that. That's important for engineering and for traffic to know, hey, we got to plow this part. We can plow both sides of the street instead of, seesawing back and forth. It's not real clean right now. It's not perfect. But I'm with Nathan that when you get a chance to get a piece of property in the city, even if it doesn't work out for the school, it's a nice piece for, I could see about 20 houses there.
So just to follow up, if there's a way, I would like to see us have 25 mph to the school. So if that means we have to keep pushing to get the cemetery in, I mean, would that give us enough control that the township, what's the tipping point? I mean, or do we just talk to the township and say, hey, can you make this 25 and by the graveyard?
Yeah, I don't think it's going to be a problem, especially if there are children,
Okay.
because then you're going to be into state ordinances more so that's going to want a speed limit that's consistent.
Okay.
When children are present, especially.
Right, so maybe Larry, is that something we can push on the township? To go to 25,
We can talk about that.
different time?
Yeah.
Okay, very good. That was my only question. Thank you.
And just to be clear, a lot of these questions are more site plan review related than annexation related.
Any other comments from any council members? Alder Anderson?
Just to make sure I'm reading the map right, the K and B and the white plumbing, that's part of the city?
That's correct.
And then where it kind of like, where it crosses, yeah, and then that like kind of like, the corner, those two corner houses, it looks like.
Yes.
Are those in the city too that are across the street?
No, though
From
they would still
K&B.
be in the township. They'd be contiguous to the city, right, just diagonal through a corner.
So that,
Yeah, into the town, I mean.
yeah, so that parcel 1 that's there? Is that township?
That's part of what would be annexed. Parcel 1 and parcel 2 are the two pieces that we're looking at annexing today.
All right, so parcel 1. But then those two pieces, that's lot 1. Yeah, those two would still be in the township.
That's correct. Any other thoughts, questions? Okay, guess we're prepared to take a vote. Please read the roll.
Anderson,
No.
Appenfelt,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Faree,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Perkins,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yads,
Aye.
Zap.
Aye.
Okay, ordinance 17, 2024 does pass. And we do thank the school district employees for coming. And we're going to move back to presentations and reports. You're welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting if you want to, or you can go. Okay, so city administrators report.
Just one thing to pass along to the council, just making them aware that last week the JRB met. This week, or the Joint Review Board met this week. We took the information that was talked about at the GRB, specifically with creating a TID 10 to the Plan Commission. The intent is to bring that information before the council here in 2 weeks. So the first part in November. I won't steal any of Trent's thunder, but I think things are progressing well. We also hope to have a DA. I believe, Larry, that evening, not that you have to confirm or deny, but just so that everyone's aware, things are progressing. And so that was the main thing I wanted to pass along. I will also be letting you know that we've been having some good news at the library. And I won't steal Sarah's thunder, or Frank's, but we're excited about progress that they're making with the renovation. And so just be aware that some news will be forthcoming. So, and that's all I have.
Okay, excuse me, just a little bit of clarification if you're not familiar with the lingo. JRB is a joint review board. And it's made up of the city council has a representation and the mayor. The mayor actually appoints a citizen at large. And then also the school district and Marine Park. And the third one is in the Dodge County then. So these are the folks on this board that decide what happens. They work with the TIDs that you guys develop is what they do. And then once a year, we have an annual review, which is what's coming up. In the meantime, we looked at TID 10 before that came before you folks. So you're good? I'm good. Did you want to comment on that? He's good too. All right. Communications, anything today?
There are none this evening.
Okay, no love letters today. So we move on to the approval of the bills between October 4th and the 17th. We seem to have spent a little bit. Is there a motion to approve? Alder Mark?
Since they passed the administrative committee, I would like to make a motion to approve the bills dated October 4th through 17th in the amount of $924,794.38.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor. Is there a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Alder Free seconds. All in favor? Well, let me stop. Is there anyone that has discussion? Any questions about the bills? Anything you didn't understand? Okay, seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? And are there any abstentions? Okay, seeing none, the motion passes. So now we're moving on to the Beaver Dam Tourism Report. Looks like Shannon's here. She's Miss Tourism of Beaver Dam. You'll have to turn your microphone on. There you go.
Thank you.
That way everyone online can hear too.
I think everybody, I don't know if I know everyone, but my name is Shannon Cooley. I'm the tourism marketing manager at the Beaver Dam Chamber of Commerce. And today is just going to be an overview of what we have been working on for marketing and promotion of the city of Beaver Dam and surrounding areas. So first we're going to start, and I'm not promising 10 minutes, but I'm going to try as fast as I can to get through this. I'm not an auctioneer. So we're going to talk about the traditional marketing that we have done over the past 10 months. And that includes print marketing materials. Traditional marketing includes radio and billboards and text messaging. So hit that one. Our first marketing I don't have it with me, but the See Wisconsin magazine that you have in front of you, everyone has one. We advertise in this magazine, which gets distributed to over 700 prime locations on all of Wisconsin's highway routes. This includes your welcome centers and visitor centers in the state of Wisconsin. Over 100,000 of these get printed every year. And some of the highlights that we feature in this magazine are our festivals. So the Wisconsin Arts and Peony Festival, Best Damn Music Fest, and Fall Downtown Fest. And we also highlight places of interest, including the Beaver Dam Lake and River, Horicon Marsh hiking and biking trails, the Beaver Dam Area Community Theater, shopping, the Wall Dogs murals, the Raceway, and Uga Brewing. We also advertise in the Dodge County Community and Visitor Guide. 35,000 of these copies are distributed throughout Dodge, Columbia, Dane, Sauk, Fond du Lac, and Washington counties, as well as the I-90-94 corridor. I don't have this one with me, but this one actually features all of the cities and towns in Dodge County. We really hit home on our festivals and fairs again and markets, any recreational activities, our arts, community, and playing and exploring, and cultural hotspots.
I'm going to intercept you for a second.
Yep.
If you haven't seen this or everybody gets it at
You're
home,
ahead. Nope,
um,
you can't. Nope.
no?
Next slide.
Oh, I thought you were in that already.
You're way ahead.
All right, just remember to tell them about the calendar.
I will. So you have in front of you the Beaver Dam Area Community and Visitor Guide. This year, we added 4 additional pages to the visitor guide. Frank, can you hold up the visitor guide? Yep. This is all about Beaver Dam. We have 4 more pages that we've added this year. We've distributed, well, we ordered 18,000 guides, 4,000 more than last year. We have about 1,000 left to get us through March. 10,000 guides were distributed to the community, including Oconomowoc, distributed throughout the state at welcome and visitor centers as well. They are housed at the Chamber of Commerce and Visitor Center. So if anyone is looking for a box of guides, please come and visit us or call me. I'd be happy to deliver them to you. This year is something new we added. So the first, we've added a smaller map of the lake and city as an insert where you can actually take it out. This was actually a request by visitors that come into the Chamber of Commerce, which is great. So visitors can put them in their boats or their purses. We've actually done a 2-page spread all about the lake and a 2-page spread about dining this year. Now, the Best of Dodge. Everyone has one of these books. Yep, that's the one. So each publication of the Best of Dodge is mailed directly to over 21,000 homes 4 times a year in Dodge County. Limited quantities are available at the Chamber and at Palenque. Ads that we share a 4-page spread with Downtown Beaver Dam Inc. You're going to find in the middle of the magazine our calendar of events, and then we do features, highlighted events, and major events. And this, we've done a March, a June, and a September issue, and our next issue will be in November, and that will be a 3-page spread. Those are highly requested magazines. We go through these. He brings in a whole box of these, and we go through most of them. So people come and look for these. And there you go. Next one. Included in this, we do get to advertise in the Watertown Best of Dodge as well. So see, these were some of the things that we featured: our Wisconsin Arts and Peony Festival, our Harmonious Threads, LaCrone Levenhagen Jacket Showcase, and just a brief overview of the recreational activities that you can do here in Beaver Dam. Moving on, the Wisconsin Arts and Peony Festival is one of our major festivals that we advertise in this magazine called Our Wisconsin. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it. It's a very high-end magazine, even has like a nice pull-out in the middle. We did a half-page ad this year. They have over 100,000 paid subscribers in all 72 counties in Wisconsin. So this meets our target market for the Wisconsin Arts and Peony Festival. Visitors do mention seeing this ad. We've actually had a couple bus tours booked because of this ad, so it works. This year is the first year that we have advertised in the Wisconsin Traveler. Madden Media is the official publishing partner for Travel Wisconsin. So they work in partnership with Travel Wisconsin and to produce this guide. This is a full-page advertorial that we did for fall and winter. And we do have another one coming up for spring and summer of 2025. They do 20,000 copies per edition. Their main focus is where to go, where to stay, what to do in Wisconsin. It meets all of our target audiences, adults 35 to 44 with kids, and secondary audience 25 to 34. These markets that Travel Wisconsin market to are tried and true, backed by data, and these people are already traveling here and requesting these guides. These also get shipped to Chicago, Minneapolis, Duluth, Rochester, Cedar Rapids, Davenport, Des Moines, and Rockford, and in-state to Milwaukee, Madison, Green Bay, Wausau. This year, tourism has decided to put some signage up. First, we're going to focus on the Family Center Ice Arena. We know that many of our stays, hotel stays, are booked by hockey families. And we have posted a sign at the Family Center Ice Arena that directs them to our visitor website, visitbeaverdam.com. The QR code was tested at 114 feet, so you can actually pop that QR code up on your phone from sitting on the bleachers and it will go right to the website. This year, we also have a sign on the mechanical building at the Dodge County Fairgrounds. It will be up for the entire year and is highly visible from Highway 33. We have also put up a billboard, as you can see on the right, on I-94 between Highway 11 and 20 in Racine County. This is an illuminated billboard facing south. Weekly impressions, so this is how many people that drive by this billboard, is 215,000 people. Initially, we put it up for 6 months for this year, for 2024, but we have extended that contract for 11 more months into 2025. I know that some of you have probably heard about the billboard on Beaver Dam Chatter, which is great. I love that someone actually took the time to take a picture, so it means it's doing its job, captured someone's attention long enough to take a picture. This billboard is actually visible on the left side of the road. We've actually had calls from many people. We even had visitors from Racine come to Beaver Dam because of this billboard. It's also in direct correlation with some exciting news about our website. So if you can flip to the next one, we'll talk about the radio show first. Every month, tourism has its own radio show, a part of the Hometown Today from 9 o'clock to 11 o'clock about tourism and events and happenings in Beaver Dam and surrounding area. We also do radio ads with Good Karma and Magic 98 with the Wisconsin Arts and Peony Festival, Taste of Wisconsin, Best Dam Music Fest, Best Dam Fest, Fall Downtown Fest, and the holiday events and Rotary Lights. Digital marketing. So digital marketing encompasses social media, website, display ads, content, and search engine optimization. Google AdWords. So I'm not certain if everyone's familiar with Google AdWords, but a simple kind of basic explanation is when you go to Google and you type something in specific. If I typed in Beaver Dam, Google's going to do a search, and we hope to be on that first page in the search. So we also pay for advertising or pay for Google AdWords in order to drive people to our site. So we put in keywords in hopes that it drives people to our site. Next. Google paid search. So these are the data that they have given us on that it's working. So in the orange, you're going to see the industry average click-through rate is 3.17. We are consistently beating the industry average twofold in some instances. June is when we put up the billboard. And as you can see, we had a nice spike in visits, and I'm going to attribute that to that. Our visitor website, October 2022 through September 30th, had 16,000 total visits. October 2023 through September 30th, we had 35,000 visits. We had a 119% increase in visitors over the past year. We do branded content articles with Madison Media. 2 articles a year. One of the articles features the Wisconsin Arts and Peony Festival. This had phenomenal results, and actually the best results they have ever had on a branded content article that they've ever done. They did May and June, put money behind it on social media. The click-through rate was 11%. Travel industry average is 0.9%. June results were 9.49%. We are also doing right now a branded content article about the Fall Downtown Fest and other fall events that are happening here around Beaver Dam. Right now, the click-through rate results are 6.57%. That will be running through Saturday. We also work with State Point Media. I did give you some handouts about State Point Media, just to kind of a brief explanation of what State Point is. We give them the content and write the article, and then they have placements. So what it is, it's almost kind of like a press release that's already written, where that list on the front, this list, and we'll steal from Frank again, this list on the front shows all the placements, and it also shows what they did with that content. So, I don't have my glasses on. If you go to, let's see, Waunakee Tribune put this article on their front page. And as you can see, we had 52 placements on this article with about a potential of a 7 million reach, audience reach. You can hit the next one. We also ran another article, well, it's an editorial platform through State Point Media with Fall Downtown Fest and other fall activities. So it featured Pepperfest, Oktoberfest, Fall Downtown Fest, and casket races. This had 47 placements, approximate 7 million potential reach. So this did very well as well. We also work with social media influencers on a social site called Sherpa. The reason why we hire influencers is to build trust with followers through genuine and personal content. So it's not it's not per se, when you see something on social media, a paid sponsorship. They actually come and do their thing. You give them an itinerary, and they're really great people to work with. So using Sherpa, we can connect with social media influencers that are already there. And we build the itinerary specific to what we are looking for. The influencers apply, and then we get to choose the influencer that we would like to come. The adventure is shared on influencers' social sites. So a lot of times I like choosing influencers that are really great with photography and have a lot of followers. The content then is integrated on visitbeaverdam.com under adventures. And the content is also downloadable and owned by tourism. So whatever content they post, whether it's photos or videos, we own. These are some of the social media ads that we've worked on throughout the year. I really love being able to do some of the recreational activities in Beaver Dam. We do focus a lot on events here, but we were lucky enough to get a whole bunch of snow, I believe in January, so we did a snowmobile ad, which was really great. We had an 8.95% click-through rate. Industry average here is, again, 0.9%. We also did a Dodge County tourism survey, so I am a part of the Dodge County tourism per se, where they're working on a GEM grant and rebranding. So we help them with that to collect some survey information about Dodge County. And we also did an ad with the History Makers Tour. So we worked in conjunction with the Dodge County Historical Society and the Wisconsin Historical Society. And they did a family skate day at the ice arena and dedication to Maddie Horn. Beaver Dam events marketing. So this is a really cool video I want to show you from a social media influencer. If you have not yet seen it, I don't know if you can click on that or not. But this is the content that really drives home with people. We have this out on our visitor site as well, and we have also used it in our social media marketing. And it's also on our YouTube channel. Social media ads for events. We're going to start with the Wisconsin Arts and Peony Festival. These were all of the things that we promoted with this festival. The event on Facebook, all of the CTRs, the click-through rates above average, beating the industry average again. And some interesting data that we are now collecting from Placer AI data. 4,700 visitors we had last year. We had 8,700 visitors this year. So we had almost a double increase, which is great. A little background on Placer data. Placer AI is code that is used in your cell phones. So even if you turn your location off, you're still being tracked, which is great for marketers, probably not great for you. So they take those pieces of code and they can tell us how many visitors are in an area. They can also tell us where the visitors went and where the visitors came from. This is just some of the print, traditional. We did do a lot of videos. I only featured one. We do banners for this festival as well. The video is on the right-hand corner if you want to click on that quick. I try not to show too many videos. Okay, next. So this was my favorite part of the Arts and Peony Festival this year. I am a UW marching band geek. Love the band. I got to meet Mike LaCrone, part of my bucket list. Check the box. This was a great event. Nancy Zeman Sewing Studio was a great partner in this and allowing us to use their event space to showcase all of Mike LaCrone's jackets and Lois Levenhagen's work. She's amazing. And this was a great exhibit, 800 plus visitors, got lots of data from them as well. And just a very well attended exhibit and event on Sunday with UW Marching Band and Mike LaCrone and Lois being guests at the Dodge County Historical Society lawn. I don't know if any of you went there. Anyone? Anyone? If you want to play the one on the right, that'd be great. And before moving on, see the paper that I gave you also tells you where everyone came from when they came to visit the Michael LaCrone exhibit. Everyone that went to this exhibit signed in. We had people from all over the state and out of state come to this exhibit, which is really great. Wisconsin Arts and Peony Festival, the same. Generally, when we market on social media, I'm always using DMAs, and it's regions that we market to. So Green Bay, La Crosse, Madison, Milwaukee, Chicago, Wausau area, Wausau Rhinelander, and Green Bay Appleton. And as you can see from all of the visitors, we've pretty much hit the mark on all over the state of Wisconsin, which is really great. Don't hit them both at the same time. Next event, Taste of Wisconsin, always a fun event, beer, cheese, and now wine festival. June 15th this year. Our CTR for this ad was 7.79%. I had a lot of trouble with this ad. Meta was not very kind to any kind of alcohol or beer ads anymore. So we really struggled with this one, but had a great turnout. I think we had like 899 tickets sold. Placer data does say that we had 1,600 visitors that day. And it is 94% accurate, so they might have grabbed some of the apartment dwellers and people driving through in traffic, but these were some of the ads that were featured. You can go next. Best Damn Music Fest. Ooh, it was a hot weekend for this one. Water levels were very high, a very hot weekend. People want to be on the lake. We still had a great CTR, 6%. Placer data shows us at 11,000 visitors, a decrease in 18,000 from last year. Well, 5,000 from last year. I think it was 16 or 18,000. All weather related, we believe it was probably 90 plus degrees that weekend, but still a great event, still brings in a lot of visitors, and we did add on that extra day on Sunday, Best Damn Fiesta Day, which was a well-attended event as well. So hopefully that's happening again this year. Dodge County Fair. We help them with marketing on social for their Facebook event. CTR was 4.4%, which is really great. Attendance was down a little bit this year, but still great for the weather that we had. Weather-related issues, I think, with most of the events this year, with the 51,000. I think they actually had 54 according to their ticket sales. We also did hire a social media influencer via Sherpa and got some really great content from them as well, photos and videos. And a lot of things when I'm looking for social media influencers, I'm also looking for drone operators too. Next. Fall Downtown Fest is coming up, but we're going to talk about Pepper Festival and Oktoberfest. I know I got them backwards. Great showing. So Pepper Fest, we actually gave them money out of the tourism budget to run their own ad, and still beating it a little bit. It wasn't that great of an ad, 1%, but we combined all the things that were happening in Beaver Dam together. Pepperfest, Oktoberfest, Dodge County was having their truck pulls as well, and it was opening day for Wallvogel's Pumpkin Farm. So trying to feature everything in one ad to get more bang for our buck and make sure that visitors are staying in Beaver Dam longer. Really great content from them as well, from our social media influencer, which you can find at visitbeaverdam.com. Fall Downtown Fest is coming up. I know you had mentioned the time frame, 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. are all of the family-friendly activities that are happening on South Spring Street and Front Street, which will be closed. Casket races, 1:30 p.m. I know everyone's excited to see those. We actually have 15 casket racers this year. Our CTR for this event is going really well. We actually did a separate event for casket races at 4%. Fall Downtown Fest is at 2.4% right now. And attendance placer data is to be determined. So we're hoping for a really great turnout and great weather. Upcoming events. We just talked about Fall Downtown Fest, but we've got all of our holiday events coming up. Home for the Holidays, Get Caught Shopping, Rotary Lights, of course, is a big attraction. Our holiday parade is going very well. Anyone? Fire trucks in the parade. Santa's Hometown Holiday Adventure and Cocoa Walk and Shop. Other tourism projects and initiatives. So this year I attended the Circle Wisconsin Bus Tour Convention in Fond du Lac in April for a weekend. It was really great meeting other tourism entities from all over the state. We really tried to promote the Wisconsin Arts and Peony Festival and the upcoming American Peony Society Convention that will be happening next year in 2025, and hoping to get bus tours. We have heard from the West Bend Convention Center, who is also hosting the John Deere Color It Green the same exact weekend, that they would like to bring in bus tours to Beaver Dam as well. Tourism projects. We are currently working on a postcard mural. in collaboration with Stephen Bennett. We're still working out the kinks with that, but hope to have that finalized within the next couple months. Tourism has decided to add a grant application as part of their budget, where nonprofits and for-profits that are bringing in hotel stays can apply. QR code plaques for murals, so we're working on easements with business owners to get those attached to walls. And the APS, American Peony Society Reference Garden, which is over by the Rotary Riverwalk, which is now going to be called the Wisconsin Heritage Peony Garden. This reference garden will be on the American Peony Society website and put Beaver Dam on the map. We are now starting to add videos to our YouTube channel, so you can visit Beaver Dam on the YouTube channel as well. Website, lots of updates to the websites, events. You know, we have a Beaver Dam Lake, Wisconsin Heritage Peony Garden. The reference garden will be on the visitbeaverdam.com website. This year, we applied for a GEM grant for the American Peony Society Convention, and we got it. And this was through the Wisconsin Department of Tourism, and it's called the Meetings Mean Business Grant, and they received $6,205 to host their convention here in Beaver Dam. The Beaver Dam Chamber and Visitor Center is going through a little bit of a rebranding. We are hoping to be called the Dodge County Visitor Center. And the signage, we have worked with the DOT, now points to the Beaver Dam Chamber as a visitor center. So tourism points to us. Dodge County Tourism, so I've been working collaboratively with the Dodge County Tourism. They received their Year 2 GEM grant for rebranding, and now they're moving forward in developing their website. So we're helping them with content, and Beaver Dam will also be featured on that website as well. We also work collaboratively with the Dodge County Fairgrounds and the Friends of the Horicon Marsh, of which I'm so happy to announce that I'm the vice president of that in a couple months. So, and also working collaboratively with the Wisconsin Historical Society and bringing back the history making tours again next year. Next. And to end on a really great note, tourism in 2023 in the state of Wisconsin, breaking records again, broke records last year, breaking records again this year. Dodge County alone, if you could maybe, can you scroll in there and highlight that? I can't see it. On the bottom. Oh, what'd you do? Dodge County alone had a 5.6% increase in tourism, which is a great economic impact for our county. And that's it. I think that's the last slide. Okay.
Shannon,
Yeah,
is that it?
that's it.
What a tremendous job.
But I was given a time limit.
What a tremendous job. Yeah, you're doing very well, and we sure appreciate you taking care of our tourism dollars. Okay, moving on to the next item on the agenda is to draft budget and the fee schedule presentation. Does that put you on?
Yeah, it's going to be a joint venture between Kayla and I.
Let's go.
So a few weeks ago, we met with the budget workshop. And all just kind of, Kayla, am I starting or are you starting? I forget.
You were going to start.
Was I going to start? Okay. So we went through all the comments and the feedback that we received from you all and inserted it into the budget. You received it in your packet. If you want to move to the next slide, we can kind of go over what we're going to talk about today. So we'll go over the general fund budget background. We'll review the general fund budget summary. That will be Kayla. Then we'll review the new requests and the CIP budget background. And then review the capital improvement program budget itself. And then finally, we'll close with just a a quick review of the proposed fee schedule. When we get to that, we're not going to be adopting the fee schedule today. That will be with the budget. But we want to make sure that everyone's just kind of on the same page with fees. So go ahead, Todd. So just to review the background, during the workshop, we got some specific feedback. We discussed the expenditure restraint and the clear direction not to use it for additional debt. We also provided you kind of WRS, or that you asked us to provide WRS unfunded liability or refinancing options, and we presented that to the administrative committee this last week, and we'll, did we act on that last week? No, it's this today, right?
They just gave us direction.
They
and
gave
then
us
we're coming
direction.
back with the
We're
resolution
bringing
today.
it to you today, the resolution. We then prioritize the new budget requests using the full levy limit. And we'll discuss that more in depth. And then we did push the Swan Park Phase 3 project because of the lack of or not receiving the grant. So today we'll review the draft budget with the intent of publishing it October 31st, and then the public hearing will be scheduled for November 18th. And with that, I'll turn the time to Kayla.
Okay, so we kind of touched on this during the workshop, so I'll go through kind of what I talked about at the workshop, and then also provide you where there were additional changes since the workshop with the workshop direction that we received. So at the property taxes, primarily that's the reduction is going to be that a big portion of it's going to be the 1.4 from the borrowing that we did last year with West Street and the library roof. And then the other part is going to be then really the additional personal property aid that we received this year also helped bring down kind of that property tax amount. And then the other part of it is that when we did the workshop, we did not include the full levy limit. And so then this budget now is using the full levy as well. As far as the other taxes, there was just a slight increase. There's no change since the workshop, but primarily that was just an increase in the quarterly room tax. We just had a nice presentation about our tourism, and we've seen that our quarterly room tax has been increasing, and so just right sizing based on the trend that we've seen, and just recognizing that revenue that we anticipate for 25. Shared revenue, there were no changes. The 44,000 really represents just the increase in the shared revenue that we're receiving. The transportation aids and road aids, we used an estimated amount for 2025. We have not received the actual estimates from the Department of Revenue yet. So hoping to get that yet this week so we can include that in the draft publication. But as we talked about, that additional increase would really go towards street maintenance. Other state aids is really just that personal, so the personal property that is no longer going to be a separate tax. The aid payment that we're now receiving from the state in lieu of that, that's that increase that you see there. No change since the workshop. Licenses and permits and penalties and forfeitures, there's really no notable changes in there. Some of the penalties and forfeitures, we were just having some minor reductions based on what we were seeing in the 3-year averages and where it seems to be trending. So just recognizing that a little bit more accurately. Charges for services. We had some Medicaid rate changes, and then we also adjust some of the fire department fees last year, and so there's just some increase to recognize where we're looking to project for 2024 and what we anticipate for 2025, but that's the majority of that change. And then in that miscellaneous, the increase that you'll see since the budget workshop is, so we talked about the expenditure restraint and not wanting to use new debt. So that kind of made me, after the budget workshop, go back and think a little bit more about it. And instead of recognizing new debt, we've really talked about street maintenance being more of a operational expense. And so We are recognizing the debt proceeds that we're already borrowing for in the general fund, as well as the expense in the general fund. And so that's primarily the change for that. So in doing that, we were able to at least capture the other 850,000 of expenditure restraint. So not quite getting us to where we were capped at, but at least being able to maintain a good portion of that.
Next.
So wages, we discussed, there was a cost of living adjustment that was put in there. Since the budget workshop, we did add in the 3/4 of a year of the inspector for the fire department. And then there was also some library adjustments that we had made based on some county funding that we're anticipating to get. So that's the bulk of the change since the workshop. As far as the benefits, the majority of that change was really just the 6.5% increase in the health insurance costs. Since the workshop, we talked about refinancing the Wisconsin Retirement Unfunded Liability. In doing so, we can actually stop budgeting for that additional percentage in the city's costs for Wisconsin retirement. And so I went back through the budget for all the departments, removed those out, and then basically placed that saved expense in a contingency so that we can reallocate that if we have unexpected costs in 2025. Operations, there really was no change since the workshop. A lot of it was really just kind of adjusting based on the 3-year averages and right sizing some of that we saw. There was also a lease with the Department of Public Works that will no longer be needing to recognize in here because we did purchase that out. And so there's some reduction in there as well for operations. Debt service, the reduction there is really, again, that 1.4 borrowing we did with American Bank for West Street and the library roof. And then the transfers, the increase that you'll see from the workshop, again, is then the second half of that street maintenance. So again, just utilizing that full expenditure restraint or trying to capture as much of it as we can.
Next.
As far as the expenditures by department, really the major changes from the workshop, again, are going to be those Wisconsin retirement savings that pretty much hits every category on here for those staff wages. Again, in the public works, we had that lease payment that we no longer need, so that kind of reduced that even more. In the fire and rescue, I already mentioned we added in the 3/4 for the fire inspector. And then for the other public services is again that street maintenance for that levy limit, and the debt service is that American Bank borrowing. So kind of just a repeat, but summarized more on a department basis.
Next.
So then in here, we adjusted for the 2024 column with the interim rate with the TID. It's now looking at 7.96, which equates to about an $86 reduction in the taxes based on that median home value. And then this chart looks familiar as well. And so just again, talking about our mill rate comparisons compared to some of our surrounding areas, you'll see that this has us slotted at kind of right where we were at in 2012. So. And Nathan, I'll let you take over.
So as we discussed during the meeting, we identified items that to remove from the new budget requests. The only two changes were with the tractor for the range and also the city hall elevator. And the purpose of that was we were about $48,000 over budget, even with the new levy limit or going to the levy limit. And so as we evaluated things, the elevator, we were able to identify budget within this current year. And so in talking with John, we're going to proceed forward with budget that we currently have. The tractor, I've talked with the PD. There are some other options that could be considered, whether they do a lease on a tractor. But as we evaluated, the thought that came to my mind is, is this a need? Is this a want? Where are we at? And $30,000 for the amount that we're going to use this machine was a lot. And so I don't know, Chief. I know that Chief Kratzinger is here. If you want to come and talk about maybe some of the options that the department wants to consider. Okay. Yeah, so the thought process for them was to basically use their current budget and within their operating budget, apply for a lease. I would say that the other option too is that we do have equipment and just coordinating with Public Works. But again, even renting a tractor, it just seemed like that was the one area that I guess I would recommend us reevaluating. So that's what we're presenting for new budget requests. I guess at this point, are there any questions regarding the new budget requests or comments from the council? The other thing that I would throw out too, and as another option, is we could advance the purchase of a lawnmower from the parks and then pass down their current lawnmower. Right now, it's scheduled for a year out. But if we wanted to, we could push that forward. And that way, the PD would get a newer, it would still be used, but it would be a newer version of a lawnmower, was another option to throw out there too as well. And if there are no comments, I think the PD's preference probably would be to do a lease. So unless there's anything from the group, I think that gives us at least direction. So. Okay. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
I guess just to say at least though, I mean, is it 5,000 a year or 15,000 a year? I mean, that's one comment I have. The other comment I have on Nathan relates to what you said about a pass down lawnmower. I thought the police that the facility at the police shooting range needed something with a bucket. And that's why the tractor was on the table.
Yeah, so again, their desire was to have a tractor with a bucket. The one thought that, again, I presented is that we do have tractors. And there requires a little bit of coordination with Public Works, but our departments are willing to work with one another. And so that's the only consideration. I think there would be convenience in having a lease tractor with the lawnmower from the PD standpoint. As far as from your question about the lease payment, that would be, within their purview. They've got a certain amount of money that they have in their budget. And I think they're going to try to, I know Brandon is a hawk on budget and he won't want to overspend because whatever he uses in the lease, he's going to not be able to use on other things. So I'm not too concerned about, is it 15,000 or 5,000, because ultimately the department will decide that. But I think, again, it goes back to the fact of, we can continue to do what we are doing. But anyway, did I answer your question, Joe?
Alder Olson?
I mean, I'm always about partnership. I mean, if we can offer something to the police department, I'm all about that. But at the end of the day, it's kind of their, if they want to lease, it's their decision, right? Because within their budget, and that's, we don't have much say over their budget. We approve their budget. Once it's inside their budget, they can do with the money what they want to do with it, correct?
That's true. It just be, I think what will happen is pressure will be put on the budget. Next year, they'll come and there will probably be a comment, hey, it's tighter, now. It will put pressure, but again, if the general direction of the council is yes, let's do this, that would be their preference.
I mean, at the end of the day, me personally, again, I'm only one voice on the council. I'd prefer a partnership where they would at least try to work with Public Works to be able to use their equipment as much as possible. And then potentially, I wouldn't be against moving up this timeline schedule on a new mower with the idea that they would get passed down the other one. And again, we would all be working with each other.
Thank you. Other comments? I guess I do have a question, maybe back for Chief. When you use this mower, that sounds like it's seen better days. You see very few mowers with that kind of hours on them. And so who's operating that? Is that part of the department in their off time, or how does that work? And what would they volunteer their time? Okay, thank you. Yeah, I was wondering if there was a budget savings there or not, but then you wouldn't save on the labor if it's volunteered, but certainly appreciate them doing that on their time. Yes. Oh,
If we move up, DPW's purchase or Parks purchase of a mower, how does that impact this budget? Does that have an impact?
It wouldn't have an impact this budget. What it would do is it would be something that we would be putting on debt service. So, I mean, but it's advancing it from 1 year to, so instead of it being debt service in 27, it'd be 26.
I recall that the chief had pointed out that the mower was failing, right? That they were breaking welds and things like that. So it was not ideal.
Yeah, the current mower is not ideal. There's something that does need to be done. And so I guess the point is we wanted to present some options because we didn't want to just say, hey, sorry, SOL, we're not going to do anything. And so again, the options that, we kind of thrown out there is we could continue to push the partnership side of things. I think the department's preference would be the lease option. And so, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
so if I understand, the mower that would be handed down to the police department probably does not have a loader on it. It's just a mower. Okay. So it would suffice for part of their needs, but not all of their needs. A leased unit would be 100% of your needs, hopefully. It would have a loader. Yes, Alder Yads.
If you look at the police department's budget, it's pretty consistent. They return money to us. Last year, they returned, I believe, about $258,000. I mean, there is equity there that, to work with them somewhat. I mean, maybe we can get a leased vehicle there, a leased tractor or something like that for them. I mean, they're returning money to us all the time. We got to look at the big picture sometimes.
Any other discussion on the options for this? Do we sort of need to take a vote on that today, or is that just?
No, I'm gathering from the silence that there's some impartial, if the department's preference is to move forward with the lease, I don't think that there's any hesitation with that. So that's what I'm understanding from the group. So with that, basically the new requests that we have on there, the only other two that I'd highlight is the city hall chiller replacement and the library ACU replacement. Those were two additions that we put onto the CIP and that we are using debt service for. So you will see a slight increase in debt service. The only cause for caution, and John, Chief, and I will be working together as we do the assessment of the fire station and city hall. That also will probably be informative on what to do with the chiller if it does need to be replaced, and with the replacement we'll have significant energy savings, but we want to make sure that we're not putting the cart ahead of the horse. So, but those will be borrowing. So everything else was accommodated through the levy or through previous past borrowings as discussed during the workshop. I think we're good, Todd. I forget, I don't know if we passed. Am I doing this one or you want to do this one, Kayla? Go ahead.
So this is just a summary of the general CIP. So engineering is just the street rehab, the Front and Beaver, Madison Street projects. So 2.6 in debt service, 1.1 in other fundings. I don't have it exactly in front of me, but I believe they're mostly grant funded. So total of 4.8. We have the equipment replacement. So the squads that we put into our general fund last year, we are now starting to have that be a reoccurring out of the general fund. And so it's the the equipment replacement program for the purchase of that, which is $138,000. And I believe that was two MARC squads. Vehicles, we have the fire department engine, the tandem, and then the flatbed. So 1.2 for borrowing for that. Facilities would be that chiller and the library ACCU that we just discussed. So 321 in debt service, but there was a grant for 205 in that, so total of just over 500. And then the Parks Department currently just has the trees that we fund every other year, so 30,000 in debt service for that.
And just a note on that, one thing in the future we'll be looking, Kayla and I have discussed this, and that's an item that we'd like to move more into. Instead of it being a debt service, it would be something that we would want to absorb in using general taxes for providing for that in the future. So just noting that we're moving in that direction, but one bite at the elephant at a time. Okay, I'll take this. So with the fee schedule, we first off, transit service, we just wanted to make sure that everybody at least has heard and is thinking along the lines, the 50 cents increase. I believe we provided in the packet information regarding comparables and where we're at. It appears that other communities are staying well ahead of us. So, but we've talked about this in the past, doing this more iterative. And we know that there's a need to increase those fees. Solid waste fund proposal, you had asked us to go back and take a look at this. Primarily, what it would take to make sure that we've got a balanced budget. But in order to not just be a balanced budget, but also to make sure that we're not in the hole or we're not negative, we're proposing a general fund balance transfer at year end to fill that void. And then moving forward, we would basically use the contract percentage to maintain that rate moving forward. So that's what we're proposing. And then I know that there was a comment from Alder Yutz last time regarding increasing the block party fee. And if there are other fees that council feels adamant about, we're willing to listen to that at this time. But for right now, these are the main two that we need to address. Any comments or questions regarding the fee schedule? Not all at once. Guys, this is exciting stuff. We're making progress left and right, you know. Anyway. Okay. I guess I will turn to Alder Yutz. Anything else you want us to do with regard to the block party and to the rest of council? Is there, I know that we've visited this issue in the past. I know President Yutz has stated his thoughts. From the rest of the group, is there appetite for that, or is he alone on an island?
Yeah, go ahead, Bobby.
Just to give a little history, we discussed the fee schedule at length in admin before Alder Yutz was a member of that committee, so he wasn't in on those conversations. But we spent a lot of time talking about a variety of the fees, and including the block party amount. And so the amount that you see there is current. It was discussed in admin and approved, I don't know, within the last 2 years.
Alder Yutz.
If I remember right, wasn't it $100? Then it went down to $20, and now I see I believe it's $50 there. I mean, there's no reason we can't move it back to 100. You figured how much time we spent working on this stuff.
Alder Anderson.
Yeah, I believe this was discussed back when I was on admin years and years ago. At least an iteration of this went through. So I guess I would just recommend that the administrative committee, I guess at this point, should probably put on their agenda to review, just the normal, not all the fees, obviously, but, like event fees and like normal fees that the averages and average people be, just review them and do kind of like a cost, like, all right, does $50 really cover this? How many, like, cause maybe it is, block party. It could be someone just wants to have a block party. DPW drops off some signs, not a big deal. Other people that are claiming to have just a block party, are requesting police presence and barriers, and it's probably taking more like $400 or $500 to do it. So I mean, it would be up to the admin committee to kind of review that and really dig in and review, what applications were, because we don't get the applications anymore either. The clerk just approves everything. So I would recommend that the admin committee actually kind of do a deep dive on that and see who we're actually putting them to, how many per year we're giving, get a cost on each individual one, not as a whole, just do a deep dive like that, not at the whole council, but at the admin committee level would make more sense.
Do we need this to be part of the budget or not? I mean, the fees can be changed anytime, right?
Yeah, generally speaking, we try to do a fee resolution update annually. And so we will plan on doing that on the 18th of November. With a deeper dive, it probably will require more time than just one meeting. And so we can present this. We can bring this to admin if that's suitable to the chair and revisit this issue and any other fees that you wish. We just may not act on it at this time. We can always do an amendment mid-year if that's the desire of the council.
Okay. Alder Marks, does that sound,
Sure, that would be fine. If you want to put it on a future agenda for admin, we can take another look at it.
yeah, at least you can approach that one item for now for the budget and
Yeah, I do know, I do recall the last time, like a year and a half or 2 years ago when we looked at this, the discussion about the block party permit in particular, the feeling was we have very, very few, and we wanted to encourage them because we felt that was a good way that it strengthened neighborhoods and neighbor relationships. So we wanted to make it a reasonable price for a neighborhood that wants to get together. So, and this is different than a business permit. Business events where they close off the streets, that's not considered a block party. That's a different kind of event. So this is just the block party $50 fee is just for residential areas that want to have a neighborhood block party.
That's perfect, Alder Mark. I think I was going to make that same comment. What I will add is that when we talked about business events and we talked about fees for business events, that was also discussed at length. And the ultimate decision by the committee was not to increase charges on special events. What we have done is we have streamlined the special events process. Jana really does a good job keeping all of the department heads clued in between Todd, Dan, Chief Kreitsinger, Chief Wesley, and so forth, and John Newman. I can't neglect him. We review those special events, and so there's a little bit of a difference between a commercial event and, for instance, UGA will sometimes host events, right? And they'll close off streets for their event. That would be a special event permit rather than a neighborhood block party.
Alder Anderson.
What page shows those fees for the special event fees?
Yeah. One thing that we also did at the time was increase the budget that DPW had in order to accommodate. So that was a discussion point and kind of a decision at that time, but we can revisit it. And we'll plan on doing that with the admin committee. One other point that I neglected to mention from the workshop. We talked about mayor and council wages, and the direction was from the workshop to take that to the administrative committee. We did that. And in that discussion, basically at this time, the feeling was to just maintain things the way they are, not to necessarily move to a pay per meeting. I think that the committee as a whole and any committee member is welcome to jump in or chime in here. But the committee felt as a whole that they felt comfortable with the way the current lump payment or the annual payment is working. And unless there's other comments, oh, sorry.
Sorry, since you pointed the fee schedule out for an actual special event, it's the same price as a block party. So then my suggestion would be to reduce the block party. If we held Gould Street block parties for years until the fees went up, and then we stopped because our block didn't think the fee was, it was too much for our Gould Street block party. So we've had plenty of them, but we did stop once that was raised. So in looking at it, a block party is for community, my, you know, and then it's the same price as a business getting business. So I feel those are the same price. You're saying $50 if received more than 60 days, and that's how much a block party is. So if you're really thinking they're two different things, then I would suggest decreasing the block party because that is a couple of signs at the end of each road. That would be my recommendation.
Alder Anderson?
That's kind of where I was going, and yeah, with them being the same price, might as well call them the same thing. But if you're gonna really hold, because just so everyone has history, this is where it came from. It came from Uga Brewery. They didn't want to pay $20 for a block party fee. So they got it to be Uga Brewery did not want to pay $20 for a block party fee for closing the road because they do it like 5, 6, 7, 8 times a year. They thought $20 was too expensive, so they reduced it to 0. And then you're like, well, it actually costs money to do these things. You can't make it $0 when it's driving customers to your business. So then we did research and we found out $50 is about what it costs when you average it out. But that's when they're all the same. If you're gonna hold firm and say block parties are for residential only, I totally agree. Those should be like 20, maybe $30 with inflation, $20, $30. They shouldn't be 50. Cause yeah, it's just a block of residents that want to hang out, have friends over, have a party, builds community. But for a business, it should probably be more like 100. Cause again, yeah, the residential, drop off a couple signs, you're good to go. A business, they're gonna be requesting, full blockages for the road, probably extra presence, some other stuff. And guess what? They can afford it because they're going to be driving more customers to spend money at their business. They shouldn't be asking for it to be $0 because $20 is too expensive for them. Just a little background. That's where it came from. That's why it's $50 because $20 was too expensive for them. But yeah, if you're going to hold firm and definitely differentiate, yeah, we should reduce the block party if it's residential only. We should look at reducing that. That makes sense. And then the big block parties, leave it at their anchor. But yeah, again, I don't think we can do that anytime throughout the year. It doesn't have to be with the budget.
Yeah, I'd like to see this go back to admin and let them review the fees and present it at a later date. Anything else besides the fees?
That is, I think that's the last slide. Is there another one, Kayla? Oh,
Yeah, I guess the transit services, though, I would just be looking for maybe a little more of a blessing on direction before we went and posted for the public hearing that's required by the Department of Transportation. I don't want to have to post something and have a public hearing if this is something that is not of interest to a good portion of the council, I guess.
Is there anyone concerned that would tell us to wait or to hesitate or that you need more information? Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. And we're going to see more of this coming up in the next 2 meetings. So thank you, Kayla, for your presentation and Nathan for your assistance there. Okay. We will move on then to resolutions. And the first one is 82.
Resolution number 82-2024, a resolution authorizing the City of Beaver Dam to obtain a loan through the Board of Commissioners of Public Lands State Trust Fund Loan Program in the amount not to exceed $2,620,000 and to levy a tax in connection therewithin.
Okay. Do you want to make a little presentation, Kayla, first?
So we brought this topic to admin at the last meeting, not today, but the previous meeting. We presented 2 amortization schedules from the Wisconsin retirement system, one being a 5-year, one being a 10-year. With a 10-year, the interest was just about double. And so the general consensus that we received from the administrative committee was to present a 5-year refinancing with the state trust fund. And so I requested an application from the state trust fund, and this is the resolution that goes with that application. And so if this is something that is approved, we would look at getting, receiving those refinanced funds in November, which actually means then we can stop that additional contribution in November and December of this year. And then as discussed during the budget, we would then be able to stop that in 2025. With the 5-year, the first actual required payment would not be until 2026. So you would not see the impact to the mill rate or and to the taxes with the debt service would be in 2026 and then for 5 years.
Okay, thank you. Could I get a motion to approve or discuss? Alder Burnett,
I'll make a motion to approve.
Alder Saab.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Is there more discussion on this resolution? Everybody's ready to vote? Please call the roll.
Appenfelt,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Marie,
Aye.
Fisher.
Aye.
Hiley.
Aye.
Keel.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Olson.
Aye.
Perkins.
Aye.
Wild.
Aye.
Yads.
Aye.
Zop.
Aye.
Anderson.
Aye. Okay, Resolution 82, 2024 does pass. And again, thank you, Kayla and Nathan, for bringing this forward and helping us save some dollars in the future. This thing would have gone on like a charge card for 100 years. Resolution number 2, or number 83, whatever you want to call it.
Pick a number.
It's getting late or what? 83.
Resolution number 83-2024, not 2023. A resolution awarding the contract to spray closed cell foam and install fireproof coating in the interior of the Utilities Vector Storage Building on Beltline Drive.
Okay, Jeremy, do you want to give a brief description of what's happening there? Seems fairly clear, but I'm not sure which building it is even. East or west?
Well, it'd be on the east side of the road, the most northerly building, the largest
Okay.
building. So that houses quite a bit of utilities equipment, including the Vector. And at times there are over $1 million worth of equipment in there. So fire protection is important. It currently has a sprinkler system, but it is partially heated storage, partially cold storage. And where that warm and cold air meet, we have condensation that's corroding the pipes. And so we've been dealing with issues for the past several years. So reviewing some different options with the fire department and some sprinkler system vendors. The best option would appear to insulate the rest of the building and then install a wet system and avoid that cold, warm air condensation issue. So this would be the first phase. This would be the insulating and the fire protective coating on the outside of the insulation. And then the second phase would be the install of the sprinkler system. So that's out to bid. Once we get bids back for that, that would be phase 2. I'd bring that back to operations and council for approval.
Okay, thank you. Can I get a motion? Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Alder Oppenfeld. Is there a second? Alder Perkins.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. More discussion? Any other questions for Jeremy? Okay, seeing none, please call the roll.
Burnett,
Aye.
Burnett,
Aye.
Marie,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Perkins,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yads,
Aye.
Zop,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Appenfelt.
Aye.
Okay, Resolution 83, 2024 has passed, and move on to Resolution 84.
Resolution number 84-2024, a resolution approving a revised pre-development agreement for Degas LLC.
Okay. Is this something for Trent?
This is Larry.
This is Larry.
This is the whole reason he came tonight, besides wanting to see you all.
Just so you know, I've been working on the Degas development agreement when you guys are talking about things that don't involve me, so you're not wasting your money on me sitting here. So this is a fairly simple amendment to the agreement that we already have in place, whereby this company is fronting the costs for us to establish TID 10 and to go through the process of all the pre-development work that we're doing. And it's an addition, they're going to deposit an additional $700,000 to pay for some relatively short sewer and water extensions to their site for construction work, so that we don't have to, the city doesn't have to front that money. So that's, all this is a modification to that agreement. Todd has open bids on the actual work, and they came in significantly below that number, so we'll have plenty of cushion. Had the timing lined up, we probably would have lowered this additional deposit amount, but things need to progress, so we'll have plenty in the bank to cover the costs of that project with this change.
Okay, thank you. Looking for a motion for approval? Alder,
I'd so move.
okay, and Alder Anderson. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Other discussion, any questions of Larry? You've been working hard at it over here. All right,
like it when it's not.
please call the roll.
Burnett,
Aye.
Paris,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Perkins,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yads,
Aye.
Zap,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Appenfelt,
Aye.
Burnett.
Aye.
Okay, resolution 84, 2024 passes. And we'll move on to resolution 85.
Resolution number 85-2024, a resolution awarding the contract for the North Side Sanitary and Water Utility Extension Project.
Okay, who gets to talk about this one? You, Todd?
Yep. All right, so this is what Larry just alluded to. This project extends sewer and water from where we just ended on Kellum Road, north up across Hemlock Road. And this would be the first phase for the Degas development, so that they have sewer and water at their boundary for the time being. We did get 6 bids on the project, which I thought was really good, and obviously that helped the cause, since our bids came in just $267,507, and we were expecting those to come in anywhere between $400,000 and $500,000. So got a good price. RG Schmidt was the low bid on it. We are familiar with them. We've worked with them quite a bit on our street projects, so we know what we're getting there. So we would recommend award for that $267,507.
Okay, is there a motion for approval? Alder Olson. A motion for him, and second, Dr. Alder Zop.
I'll second. Yep.
All right, we have a motion and a second on the floor. Any other discussion on this one? Okay, seeing none, please call the roll.
Paris,
Aye.
Fisher,
Aye.
Hiley,
Aye.
Keel,
Aye.
Mark,
Aye.
Olson,
Aye.
Perkins,
Aye.
Wild,
Aye.
Yads,
Aye.
Zap,
Aye.
Anderson,
Aye.
Appenfelt,
Aye.
Bonnet,
Aye.
Burnett.
Aye. Okay, unanimously, resolution 85, 2024 passes. And I'm looking for a motion to adjourn. Alder Burnett.
Motion to adjourn.
And a second from Alder Anderson. Thank you. All in favor?